guys, it is time to listen to me talk to you about our new moon today, which is just a few hours away. So today we have our new moon occurring in Libra. And if you've been following me, we have quite a few things, obviously, that are going on where relationships are highlighted. So even the Venus retrograde, which rules Libra, is teaching us lessons about our relationships, finding what's important to us at this time. And so, again, we are being called to our own self, inner attention to relationships with ourselves and others. So, I want to just go through and highlight the planets in general. What's going on? What are the relationships? What is the energy with the new moon? And then we'll look at each of the signs and again where these planets are and what you might expect to be happening in your energy world as a result of this Libra new moon. So just a reminder, this is the perfect time within probably 5 hours before, 5 hours after this new moon, which occurs at about 8:39 p.m. Pacific time, to write down your full moon wishes and write them down as if they've already happened. So not that I want something, but that I have something, or I've easily acquired something, I've easily created something, and that something should be related to all things Libra. Libra rules relationships, fairness, balance, self-worth. So those are the types of things that you want to look at to have the most power behind your wishes during this new moon in Libra. So let's start with the new moon specifically in Libra. So we have both the moon and the sun conjunct at about 15 degrees of Libra, which is exactly the midpoint of Libra. And together, the 1 and the 5 create a 6, and 6s are about the harmony, the balance of the scales. If you think about the tarot cards and looking at the 6 of Pentacles, that's one of the images. So it's, giving and receiving, and looking at the balance of the scales. So you have your emotions, the moon, with your ego, the sun. And trying to find that perfect balance between the two as it relates to your relationships in particular. So let's take a look then at what are the connect points with this energy specifically, and then we'll look at some other planet actions that are going on. And the biggest one we have when we look at this graph here, so sun and the moon here, 16 degrees. And if we look at 90 degrees away, which is 3 signs over, then we have Pluto, who has recently gone direct and is now at 18 degrees. So we're within the 3-degree orb of the square, which is pretty significant, especially when you have an outer planet like Pluto that moves very slowly. Now, usually the moon and the sun, you might use a little bit tighter orb, but we're definitely within the 5-degree range, and so I would definitely say you have an impact from Pluto during this retrograde. Now, Pluto being in Capricorn, Capricorn is symbolic of your 10th house of career, social standing, so you have still that type of energy, which could mean that the relationship focus plays out somewhat in your career or reputation. Now, a square causes a change in direction. So you're looking at ways to use this energy of Pluto, which I always see, Pluto is talking about regeneration, of course, but I also really feel strongly that this new moon in particular is talking about self-empowerment. So how can you, based on what house this is occurring in for you, take your power back? And I think that you have an important relationship to take a second look at and determine specifically through the help of the power of Pluto here, how you can better utilize your power within the relationship in a way that serves both of you. Because remember, Libra is about being fair and balanced. So for being fair and balanced, we're not overpowering somebody else to get our way, but instead we're looking at ways to reinvent ourselves and apply that in this relationship in a way that benefits both of you. So this example on the screen is for Cancer rising signs. So you can look at this for Cancer or Cancer rising. And we have the sun and the moon in the 4th house of home and family. So opportunity to look at the relationships that you have at home. And then you have Pluto squaring you in your 7th house of relationships. So there is something important that you need to take a look at, which could be in actually your marriage. Since we're talking about home and family or your committed partnerships, this is the energy that the Cancer rising in this example would be looking at in particular. So then the other opportunity areas that we have here is, so another square is happening. And so we have Venus retrograde in Scorpio. And for the Cancer rising, this is happening in the 5th house of romance, children, and creativity. And then that square is with Mars, who is starting to clear the shadow period and move forward at a much quicker pace. So a lot of Mars energy pushing you in the area of things that you value to make a change. So if you're a Cancer, you're saying, okay, there's something significant happening in my relationships at home. Maybe there's an issue where children are causing some conflicts, and the Mars energy is going to help you have the drive and determination to finally bring whatever the situation is to a conclusion. So that is just a general scenario. Of course, it depends on your chart in particular and what all of your natal planets are doing as well, in order to get a really full and balanced view. And you can always book a reading with me if you want to get that kind of detail for you. In the essence of time, I won't go into all of the other planet aspects that are coming up in depth, but we will start to see some surprises in our communications because we have Mercury here standing across from Uranus. And Mercury is the planet of communication, local transportation, relatives that are close, neighbors, those types of relationships. So again, still relationships highlighted. Mercury's your communication, and Uranus is a little bit of a surprise in perhaps seeing things in a new and different way. So, each of the signs again will have that energy going on during this new moon as well. Not to mention, Saturn is still sitting in a pretty decent trine with Uranus, so you've still got that discipline that you need in order to move things forward. Last but not least, we have Neptune up here. So Neptune's sitting at 14 degrees and it's in conjunct. And in conjuncts to me represent events that occur that help us get connection back. So when I look at the in conjunctions, I always get the impression that you aren't connecting the way that you should, and Neptune's going to help you get back on track. So lots of things going on as usual. This has been a very impactful year. So let me run through the rest of the signs. So I talked about Cancer, so I'm just going to move forward from here and we'll talk about Leo. So Leo rising, you'll have this new moon in your third house of communications. Then you have Pluto in your sixth house of daily work. Venus is in the fourth house and Mars is sitting in the seventh. So you're looking with a new moon to start or improve or restart how you communicate with others. Maybe it's transportation for you, whatever aspect of the third house, you're getting a fresh start and opportunity with this new moon energy. And then with the square to Pluto in the sixth house, it would appear that you've got some opportunity to improve the way that you communicate. And again, Pluto will teach you how to find your voice. With the square in between Venus and Mars between your fourth and seventh house, you may need to find your voice at home, which is similar to Cancer, in order to have a fresh start. Perchance you're learning how to communicate better with your partner. The seventh house is usually our serious relationships, and these could apply to work relationships, but I think the way that this is lined up, this is more about it being something to do with home. Virgos have this new moon in their second house of income, so they have an opportunity there to get a fresh start with how they are making money. Could also be with how they are valuing self. With Pluto in the fifth house of romance, creativity, and children, there could be an opportunity to take a career or a hobby and do something with it that helps to improve your income. And then the square between Venus and Mars. So Venus is sitting in the third house of communication. Mars is sitting in the sixth house of daily work activities. So again, we have an opportunity to look at how we value our communications with the people in our daily lives, review those, and make some changes that may overall help improve our financial situation. For Libras, congratulations and happy birthday. When you have a new moon on your rising sign or near your birthday, probably 2 days before, 2 days after the new moon, you're really looking at a wonderful opportunity for a brand new start this year. And of course, it would be a new start in how you relate to yourself when it's in the first house. And in particular, with Pluto in the fourth house, if you've been giving away your power at home, Pluto's going to give you an opportunity to look at that and take your power back. And again, we have the square between Venus in the second house, which is your money, and Mars in the fifth house, romance, creativity. So if you feel like you haven't been getting what you need from your partner, participating or helping out at home, that Venus in that second house for you, which is your money, and then the fifth house of romance, just looks like there's some conflicts with how money is being spent at home, and you might have some opportunities to work through that. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, this is happening in your 12th house. So the new moon in the 12th house is shining light on your subconscious. And then Pluto in your third house of communication, transportation, is to me helping you connect better with your subconscious and understand some things that you've been struggling with for a while. So this new moon is really giving you an opportunity to work through and let go of some issues that have been weighing you down for quite some time. Now with Venus in your first house of self and Mars in your fourth house of home and family, again, if there's this tug of war that's been happening between you and home, you are going to be given an opportunity to take your power back, release some painful childhood memories, and get yourself back where you need to be. Sagittarius, this is happening in your 11th house of friends, benefactors, networking. And then you have Pluto in your second house of finances. So that square, Pluto's saying you aren't using your power as you could with your networking. So I'm going to show you an opportunity where you can do better and take advantage of that. And with Venus sitting in your 12th house, which I just mentioned is your subconscious thoughts, large institutions, and then Mars is in the 3rd house of communication. So you're also being given an opportunity to take more action, to not just withdraw from love and the things that you value. Mars wants you to take action and communicate with those around you what those things that you value mean to you. So you're asking to open up and share yourself with others. Capricorns, this is happening in your 10th house of career, social status. So you have an opportunity for a new beginning where that's concerned. And with Pluto in your 1st house, there may be an opportunity for a fresh start, a new job, a new boss. Pluto means power. You taking power, maybe you're getting elevated to more of a leadership role. But you definitely have opportunities for new beginnings in your career, your social status with this new moon. And then with Venus squaring Mars between the 11th house and your 2nd house of finance, again, your networking skills are the things that you value. Mars is coming in and say, yeah, but we need to take action and make money off of the things that we're doing that might just be for fun. For networking, so you may be given an opportunity to take something that's a hobby, but you've built some really good networking tools and turn it into a way to make money. But Mars wants you to take action. So wherever Mars is in any of these configurations during the new moon, Mars is driving you to take action. Venus always wants you to be, love and beauty and relationships, and that's all great things to think and talk about, but Mars wants you to come in and take some action where those things are concerned. So for Aquarius, this is happening in your 9th house, which represents higher learning, such as college or just additional education. It's also spirituality, foreign travel. So you're being given a new opportunity in one of those areas. And then Pluto is squaring you in your 12th house. So it might be giving you a message about needing to learn about yourself so you can better apply yourself, for instance, at college. If you need to get away to get in touch with yourself, that could be Pluto saying, you know what, it's time to take a trip. It's time to pursue those dreams of relocating overseas. And then Venus is squaring Mars. So between your 10th house was where you have Venus, which means you're valuing relationships at work, your current career, your status. Maybe you're valuing it too much and really giving your all at work. And Mars is saying, we can't give everything to work. I'm here in your 1st house and telling you need to also devote some time to yourself. For Pisces, this is happening in your 8th house. So the 8th house is ruled by Pluto. And so when the 8th house is squared by itself, you can expect some serious transformational energy to happen for you in this new moon in particular. So your best way forward is moving through it and not fighting what it is. But you're definitely be given an opportunity for a complete transformation. And then Venus for you is in your 9th house of higher learning, foreign travel, spirituality, and then Mars is in your 12th house. So Mars in your 12th house is probably making your dreams very active because he's got your subconscious mind on hyperdrive. So whatever those dreams are that you are having, pay close attention to them. Wake up, write them down in a journal, But there's some opportunity there for you to really get in touch with something that's going to really elevate you, I think, from a spiritual level as you go forward. Now, Aries, this is happening in your seventh house. So you've got the new moon in your seventh house of relationships, giving you an opportunity for a new start or a restart where your serious relationships are concerned. And then you have Pluto in your 10th house. So Pluto is saying work, 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 career, career, career. If you want to have a successful career, you need the support of those at home. So work on your relationships, get into a relationship that helps to motivate you. Those might be some of the activities that you would see with this new moon in the Pluto square. You've got Venus in your 8th house, so we talked about that being about transformation. So Venus is saying, I want a makeover right now. I want to do something really new and daring and different. But let me just remind you that Venus is in retrograde, so you're going to be very, very much attracted to those types of things. I would do them on a very small scale and nothing permanent that you cannot undo or that you'll regret. We have 37 more days of Venus in retrograde. I would not do anything major or transformative that you will regret later. Mars is saying, hey, this is our 11th house of networking and benefactors. And so how can you leverage a group that you belong to that might help you reinvent yourself without having a physical overhaul of yourself? And then we have Taurus, who's in the 6th house, or is, sorry, Taurus. You have the new moon in your 6th house, which is daily work, health, day-to-day routines. So you're being given an opportunity to look at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, the work that you're doing in particular, and is it fulfilling? And with Pluto squaring it in the 9th house, is it spiritual fulfilling to you? If you're just working to work, Pluto's going to show you an opportunity to do things that have more value to them rather than just chasing a paycheck. There needs to be a higher calling to what you're doing, and you'll be shown an opportunity to do that. And then Venus is retrograde in your 7th house of relationships, and Mars is in your 10th house of career. So you might have an opportunity to take a look again, the reverse of what we had with Venus in the 10th and Mars in the 7th. Our serious relationships are being stressed by our career. So Mars is saying, hey, you can't only have your focus on home and family. You also need to focus on career. So helping you to find a better balance between serious relationships and career. Maybe it's working on your relationships at work and how you're interacting with your leaders. Last but not least, we have Gemini. And Geminis have this new moon in their 5th house of romance and career and children. So you have a new beginning in one of those areas, and then you're being squared by Pluto, who's in his home sign and extremely powerful there in the 8th house. So really being pushed to take a close look at how you're approaching romance, how you're interacting with children, and in particular, any hobbies that maybe you've been just half-heartedly pursuing. Well, Pluto's going to come in and say, it's time to put a little power into any of these areas so that they're fulfilling. The 5th house is supposed to be about having fun. If you have not been allowing yourself to have fun, Pluto's going to come in and say, time to stop being so serious. Let's take a look at what you're doing and how you're doing it, and how can we bring some more fun into that area of your life. And then for you, you have 6th house in Venus and the 9th house in Mars. So Venus in your 6th house means your values are about your daily work. Maybe you're attracted to somebody at work. And then Mars again is saying, yeah, but it needs to be something of value. Not, you can't just settle just because it's somebody that you see every day, it's in your sixth house. Or it's going to challenge you to take a look at your health routines and say, we need to actually start making an effort, getting to the gym. You need to take action, and either you need to study and learn a way to improve your health, or you need to be open to meditating, getting spiritual guidance. But you're definitely being pushed to take some action where your daily routines and health are concerned. And if your daily job isn't fulfilling, you might be pushed to pursue something different. All right, I know that's a lot to take in a short amount of time, but I hope you find that very useful and helpful. Take some time to sit still with the information for your sign, decide what it is in those houses that you want to manifest, and use that as you create your new moon wishes in Libra. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, share. Use that little red subscribe button. You can use the bell to be notified whenever I upload a video. Comment, share the link. I really appreciate all the